Everybody, welcome along to our first event in our 10th birthday year. I can't quite believe it, actually. Data Science Festival has been running for 10 years. And man, we've got a year planned for everybody. And you lucky people are the people that have joined us on the very first event of this year for us. So thank you very much for being with us today. And the other thing I'm going to call out is like it sets your intention for 2026. So I was chatting with the team at Zerve last year, and we had a super successful vibe coding session with them. And they were kind of like, what can we do in 2026 to really help the community, to support the community, and actually get 2026 off to the best start possible? And they were very keen to do an event as early as possible in the year, which is what we're doing right now. For those of you that were with us in the first session, we had Greg with us, who's joining us again today. And man, it was clear in that session, knows his stuff, very passionate, keen to get hands on, keen to share his knowledge, and keen to get everyone working with him. And he's roped in Jason, one of his co-founders, to help us out today. In terms of that, I'm going to call out like Zerve. I mentioned at the start, they are building, they are innovating, they are making waves in the data community, and they really get the data community, which first and foremost for me, I'm going to show my age, but I'm a little bit old school. I was around in the late 90s, early 2000s when the internet was kicking off. And it really was this ecosystem of supporting. And Zerve almost embody that now with this AI wave and where we're going with data on and welcome them, sorry. Give us some clapping emojis or something, someone would they. This is the round of applause. Come join me on stage, everybody.
Was that the
Greg is
cue?
that is the that mate, that was the cue. That was the cue. Where's Jason? Come on, Jason.
All right.
I'm hoping my internet's not playing up, but it seems to be okay. Can you both hear me okay?
You
Yes,
cut
yes,
out for a
no,
second, but you're loud and clear now.
Perfect. We're
yeah.
we're there now. We're there now. I was waffling on about the start of the internet and the dawn of time, but that is not why we're here. We're here to build. And just the final piece I'll say for those that have joined us today, at Data Idols, we spend loads of time working with different companies, and the persona that they're really looking to hire at the moment is builders. So they're looking for people that can build shit and make stuff happen. And that is what the Zerve platform is all about. So we're going to drill into that today. A couple of little bits of life admin. It's an interactive session. So Greg and Jason will explain more just as we get going what that looks like. They'll talk you through the format. They'll talk you through the problem and where we'll be going for it. They are looking for it to be interactive. So by all means, if you do have a question, stick it into the Q&A, stick it into the chat, and Greg and Jason will be answering them as we go along. And like you, I'll be following along behind the scenes, making the most of this time. So, what I'll do, Greg, I'll stop sharing now,
Okay.
and if it's okay with you guys, I'll maybe get one of you to share, and then we can take things from there. Just as you're doing that, I'm going to quickly open the chat and see where we are. Lovely. We've got a few people in the chat already as well. So I'll give a few shout outs just as you're getting things up and running. So Zahid Abbas, Zahid, I recognize your name from last time. So thank you for joining us again. That's absolutely awesome. Jess, hey, everyone from rainy Milton Keynes in the UK. It is raining in Milton Keynes, so we don't need that. Didier joining us. Hello all. Sanjeev, welcome. So please do. It's interactive. Go with the emojis. Go with the chat. And yeah, thank you all for being with us today. In terms of that, Greg, obviously I can see you've shared your screen. That all looks great. Are you guys happy if I duck out and leave you to kick things off?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you got to follow along with us. We might call you out at any minute.
I'm on it. I'm on it. Good luck, lads. Have a good one.
All right,
thanks,
sounds
David.
good. Jason, how are you this morning?
Oh, great. No, thanks, thanks, Greg. Yeah, really looking forward to this. It's not raining here in Ireland, so yeah, yeah, Jess in Milton Keynes is like, yeah, sorry to hear it. How are you, Greg?
Not bad. 6 a.m., bright and early, ready to do
Ah, a bit of
some
coding.
coding
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
But no better
Hmm.
time. It's easier now at 6 a.m. than it ever was when you have an agent kind of like yeah, kind of code along with you anyways.
All righty. Let's see here. All right. So everybody should go on to app.zerve.ai, and I'll just sign out here. You should come to a screen that looks something like this. And this is a live kind of everybody get in on the action kind of code along type thing. And so everyone should feel free to, if you haven't already signed up, to go to this sign up button. You can sign up with Google. It's free. There's no cost to it, nothing like that. So go ahead and get signed in, or if you already have signed in, then go ahead and log in. And I'm just going to log in with my Google account here and show all of my other emails and such. But anyway. And I will go ahead and take our challenge for today. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be simulating some or generating some th synthetic data, and that will represent like demand for electric vehicle charging. And then we're going to write a little optimization program to try and figure out where we should put our charging stations in order to serve all the people that drive these electric cars. So there is an agent in Zerb that we're going to be using. So I'm going to go ahead and I just copy all this text here and put it in the chat. There we go. So that's what we're going to try and solve today. Boo, boo, boo. Where should a city place EV charging stations to best serve demand? We'll model the city as zones with locations and EV charging demand given a limited number of charging stations so that we can place those charging stations so that high demand zones are served efficiently and travel distance to the nearest station is minimized and coverage constraints are respected. So what is the say max service radius um, for a particular charging station? So we're going to try and build it from end to end, see what happens. I've got one baked already in case of disaster because live coding sessions are always a little you know, risky. But I like working without a net, so let's give it a go. Jason, you ever driven an electric car?
Never. No, they wouldn't get me very far. It's like, yeah, I don't. I live on the west coast of Ireland, so it's like infrastructure isn't as good. So I couldn't get from where I live to Dublin and back with the best technology just yet. I think so. I'm up for it, but it's like I'm a little bit away. I think.
Wait,
Have
wait.
you?
How many miles are you from Dublin?
200 and yeah, a bit more than 200, I think.
Oh, geez, you could make it to Dublin and then
Do you
charge in Dublin
think?
and make it
Maybe,
home. Yeah,
maybe. It's
I
like,
bet so.
yeah. And you, Greg, have you ever driven one?
Oh yeah. I had a Tesla a few years ago. It's a remarkable car. Like it's the coolest, most fun thing to drive you could imagine.
Yeah, they're super cool. I remember the first time I was in one, it was just like it's very futuristic with the consoles. A lot of kind of the other kind of car makers have kind of moved to that kind of like tablet kind of like entertainment kind of system in the middle now.
And the best thing about them is the acceleration because they're just so zippy. You know what I mean? There's no delay when you push the gas
Just straight off the line.
before you go on, which is just incredibly fun. So anyway, we're gonna solve this problem, and Jason, you and I are gonna do it separately,
Okay.
and I'm gonna break it into 6 sections here and try and kind of guide our agent to solve the problem by sort of breaking down the problem into steps and saying, all right, do this, now do this, now do this, now do this. And you in the background are just going to one shot it. You're gonna come up with one prompt
Okay.
and give it to the agent and just see if it can do all the things.
Okay,
And
I'm gonna start building my prompt now. So I'm gonna start by copying the one that you put in the chat.
yeah, okay.
And
We're going to check
uh,
in with you at the end and see how the agent did. Because
yeah,
I
and I,
actually, I sort of, it's kind of an open question in my mind whether it's better to just sort of one shot it and see what the agent does, or if it's better to kind of guide it and give it some direction as to, how to structure the problem, how to do all the things. And
yeah, I'd say well with this particular one, I think it might end up being. I think a few steps is probably better than one step, but it's my gut feel. So I think yours might end up a bit better than mine. When it can synthesize the data at the start, I think it's maybe levels the playing field a little bit. It's like, if it has to look at the data for the very first time and you try to like tell it exactly what to do in a prompt, that could be tricky. But we'll see. We'll see who wins.
Okay. Well, I'm excited about it, and I actually have high hopes for the one shot. So we'll cross our fingers there. Um, let's see. Is anybody monitoring the chat? Is everybody getting logged in and accounts being created and something like that? Let's see. Do we need any promo code for Zerve? We don't need a promo code right now. You'll start with 5 free credits, which should be more than enough for what we're going to do today. So no credits needed.
Yeah, David from the chat actually gave me some good life advice in general. There's more charging stations per square kilometer in Ireland than in England, and he got around the whole of Ireland in an electric motorcycle. So I have no excuses.
Wow. Yeah, no, I had an electric motorcycle back a few years ago. I had the Harley Davidson electric motorcycle. That thing was insanely fast. It was scary fast. And it was so fun to ride around on.
What was the what is it? Is it it's a chopper then? If it's
Yeah,
a
yeah, it was about
yeah,
it would do 0 to 60 in like 2.5 seconds or
that's
something. It was
wild.
it
Yeah.
was absurdly fast. It was so dangerous. I'm I'm glad I got rid of it, and also I've been kicking myself for getting rid of it since I did. All right, so let's see. I saw a question in the chat about what do I do now that I'm logged in. So let's see. So this it should take you to this screen once you get logged in, and we're just going to go over here to create a new project, and we're going to call it EV charging live code along. We'll create a new project, and I'll just do like a quick walkthrough that kind of describes where we're at so that everybody kind of gets a good feel for what the app looks like and where all the buttons are and that sort of thing. So first things first, you've got a little share button here. So if you do want to invite other people to participate, Zerve works a lot like a Google Doc. If you've got multiple people kind of involved, you can see, where they're at, what they're coding, what they're doing, all that kind of stuff. They can see your stuff, you can see their stuff, and you can collaborate all in the same environment. You can code in Python, R, SQL, so on. We'll be doing all of our stuff in Python today. So that'll be fun. And then you've got a little notebook style view here. So if you wanted to start coding from scratch, pardon me, you could click on Python here and it would create a little cell where you could start typing code and all that sort of thing. But we're going to let the agent do most of the work today. Let me just walk you through kind of where things are over here. So this is your file system. So if you have any files that you wanted to upload, we don't have any files today because we're going to generate synthetic data. You got a search utility for like finding text, that sort of thing. This is if I need to add any libraries or packages. We won't for today, I don't think. We might, if we were doing something a little more complex, we might have some mapping tools that we would need. So maybe we'd use this geospatial environment. But like I said, you can add any kinds of packages or anything like that that you need. If you wanted to attack this problem from another perspective that would require additional dependencies or anything like that. There's compute settings. This is for default settings around like what type of compute to spin up, et cetera, when you're executing code. Global imports is for where you would have code that you want to run before each block. Assets is for like connections to databases and reusable code and stuff like that. And then, of course, we can sync to GitHub and all that sort of thing. We won't be using GitHub today, but that's where that is. So that's just a quick tour of what's going on here. The real action is happening over on the right side, and that's where the agent is gonna do its work. And so, Jason, have you kicked off your one shot yet?
Uh, Not quite. I'm mid prompt.
Mid prompt.
So
He's carefully crafting that prompt.
about 10 seconds away. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so like I said, we're going to try and optimize these charging station locations. And the first thing I want to do here is to generate roads and zones and demand. So let me jump to this prompt here. So I'm going to say to the agent, create a simple synthetic map with 20 to 30 zones. Give each zone a coordinate and a demand weight representing EV charging need. Visualize the zones on a scatter plot. So we'll get going there. Now, the way that Zerve works, we're going to start as soon as the agent starts working here, we're going to be able to see not just the code that it's generating. So here's its plan. It's going to generate a synthetic map of 20 to 30 zones, just like I asked it to. And it will start putting code here in the notebook, and that'll appear in two ways. So I've got this canvas view opened up here, and the canvas view is going to show us a graph style view, a DAG, if you're familiar with that terminology. And so here's the first block. And so it's setting a random seed, okay, 20, 25 zones, that sort of thing. And it's executed this code. Okay, and there we go. So here's our map. So if this were real life, then maybe these would correspond to cities or neighborhoods or locations where there are like shopping malls or something like that. So this would be a map in real life, but here it's just a coordinate system. And right now we're not going to be looking at like roads and fixed routes and stuff like that. This is just strictly a system where your distance is as the crow flies. So it's a simplified optimization to be sure. That looks pretty cool though, huh, Jason?
It looks very cool. It's like, yeah, so my is now in the planning stage and it's starting to kick off its work, but this looks very good. So we've got our kind of the starting point of our data, and then it's we have to figure out where's the best place to put the stations.
Yeah, the charging station should go in a few different places. I think we'll maybe do three charging stations and see where the optimal location for them is.
Okay, very good.
But you can see how the colors here represent the demand weight, and so do the size of the dots. So the darker the dot and the bigger the dot, the more the demand.
Super
And so
quick
we
one,
need,
Greg. Just to
yep.
jump in,
Uh,
Zahid Abbas has been in the chat just asking if you would mind pasting your prompts into the
oh,
chat,
Oh
and I
yeah,
think they'll be able
sure,
to, like,
sure.
people at home be able to copy and paste as they go, which
great
I think
idea.
might make it very interactive. So
Got it.
I'll get out the
Okay,
way.
there's the first one that I used. Jason, maybe we'll
Yeah.
hold your one shot in reserve
Oh,
until the
okay,
end.
okay. Yeah. That sounds okay.
Actually, should we paste it now or should we paste it at the end? What do you
I
think?
can paste it in. Everybody can do the same, and they can make
Okay.
tweaks to it and see do they get the same results or different results.
Okay.
So let me just copy
Make
in
sure and
here.
switch it to everyone.
Yeah. So
I'm drinking a Fresca this morning.
here's my one-shot prompt. So
I
uh,
cannot copy and paste it. Hmm.
oh, I could paste.
Why not, Zahid? Is it
Oh, sorry.
oh yeah, highlight and click copy. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, the dot dot dot, if you click the dot 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 next to the post, then the copy button appears and you can copy it that way.
So my
Okay.
one has now kicked off and it is generating data and I have a couple of plots.
Oh,
Uh,
I wonder if participants can't copy paste. Hmm.
uh, oh yeah, so David is looking into it.
Okay, Dave's looking into it. All right. So we'll go ahead and keep trudging along here while the issues with the chat are sorted out. But let's see here. So it looks like we're using pandas and NumPy and matplotlib, which is standard. I think that's what you'd always do.
Yeah.
And we are generating demand weights using an exponential distribution, sensible, and rounding and so on. And then we are using coordinates. Where do we do those? Oh yeah, these are just uniformly distributed. So your X and Y coordinates are uniformly distributed. And then we're plotting those guys in this map. Okay, so we've got our our data set of demand ready. And now we're going to go on to building a distance or a cost matrix. So we're going to try and compute the distance between each of the zones. And so here's my prompt. Compute the pairwise distance matrix between all zones and return it as a data frame and also visualize it as a heat map. Let me jump into the chat and paste this guy here. Hopefully, we'll get that issue sorted where you can't copy paste.
Yeah,
Uh, we're-
my heat map looks not heat map, but my distribution looks somewhat similar.
oh, really?
So
Okay.
a few more dots. I put in a city center, commercial areas, suburbs, rural, kind of like created different sections like that. So I'm not sure if it's going to make demand based on like simulate populations based on it. So it might be somewhat similar though, I'd say.
Okay. All right. I see somebody's put a Google Doc in here, and it looks like we might be able to paste into that Google Doc.
Very good.
Uh, Except my computer is losing its mind here. Okay, here we go. One thing that people could try, which I've never actually tried before, would be to copy the screenshots and just paste the images in and see if the
Oh,
agent could work with an image of the of the prompt.
that
So if
is
somebody wants to
interesting.
play with that, that might be fun. Jason, can you go into that Google Doc that somebody just pasted in the chat
Yeah, I've opened it
and
here and I'll copy in the
paste
one
the
there.
there we go. Okay, so we have a second piece of code here. And here's my heat map. So this is the distance matrix between each zone. So if this works like it always does, then each zone appears as a row and as a column. And so this guy here, this zone and this column, this would be 0 because there's no distance between a zone and itself. So that's why your diagonal column looks like it does because these things are very, very close to each other. And the more yellow it is, it looks like the further apart they are. And so zone number 8 is pretty far from zone number 11. So that's our heat map. So that's good. That's what we asked for. How's yours going, Jason?
Good, good. I've got a couple of visualizations. It's done some extra kind of like exploration of it. It's now doing optimization. So it's trying a few different approaches. It's trying linear programming and it's also looking at what's
Oh,
this
it's
other?
already ahead of the game.
Yeah, there's no stopping it. It just keeps going. So I told it to get to do it in one shot. So it's like made a good few tickets. So it's kind of in the phase where it's now like trying to do some of the optimization.
Gotcha. All right, so as we're building here, this gallery button is a pretty useful place to kind of see all your results. So you can kind of scroll through all the different plots that are created, and that appears right here in your canvas view. So you may have that canvas view hidden, and if you do, then you can always turn it on by clicking over here. But that's how that guy works. Are you getting the prompts pasted into
So
uh,
I
the Google Doc?
requested access. I think David is in there now as well. So
Ah,
David
I
might
see.
be able to copy him in.
Gotcha. That's perfect. All right, so we've created our roads and zones in demand, and we built our distance matrix. And now I'm going to ask it to define the objective function. And that is basically like the distance from each zone to its nearest station. And so the prompt that I'm using here says define an objective function for facility placement. Given K charging stations, I think we'll probably set that to 3. Calculate the total weighted distance from each zone to its nearest station. Make the function reusable. So that is the prompt that I'm giving it. And let me see here. So it's got a facility placement objective, a reusable objective function that takes K station locations and calculates total weighted distance from each zone to its nearest station. Now, Jason, how would you tackle this problem? What method do you think you'd use? if you were going to tackle this problem without the agent?
I'm not
No.
100% sure. There's a couple of like it is like a classic kind of like optimization problem.
Hmm.
There's a package called Pulp I've seen for some of these kind of things that uh, I forget exactly the name of the algorithm that's used. Let me just Google it. It's the one that kind of springs to mind, that one that I might Google to see if it's like useful in this case.
Pulp.
Um,
I've never heard of pulp.
I think that's the name of the package.
Hmm.
Python package. I could be the completely wrong one. So it's
Drop in the chat if any of you are familiar with optimization methods, what kinds of approaches you might take, and then we can prompt the agent to try them if you have some ideas. Oh,
yeah,
the third prompt. It is right. Whoops. Here. There's the third prompt.
yeah. So li it's linear programming
Oh
and
yeah. Okay.
mixed integer programming.
Oh, okay. We've got pulp and groby.
Oh, okay. Oh, I've never heard of the second one.
Yeah, me neither. I've never heard of either one.
Uh,
But I'm
I
kind of a hack. Jason, you're actually a serious technical person.
I
I'm a bit of a hack
yeah.
when it comes to this sort of thing.
Uh,
But
I'm gonna try and make a just for I'll send a second prompt after, and I'll make an invite in the second environment. I'll make a new environment with those packages installed, and then ask it to like see what it can do with Groovy. Mm.
okay. All right. So I'm going to go to the next prompt here, and I'm going to say implement a k-medoids or heuristic search to choose the optimal k starting location k charging locations that minimize the weighted distance objective. Start with k equals 3 and show the chosen zones. So we'll give that a go. And let me jump over to the chat and paste that one in there. Oop. Okay. Pulp is also Google OR tool is an optimization package and Gurobi as well. Okay.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah, never heard of any of those. So I picked this sort of like little exercise here because it's something that I don't have much knowledge about. I haven't really done much linear programming or optimization like this at all. My PhD's in statistics, so we just do like t-tests. We don't really do real programming. Uh, but that's the great thing about working with agents. I found that before the coding agents kind of came out, that I was very sort of hesitant or intimidated, I guess, by a problem that was new that I hadn't really uh, uh, had exposure to in the past. And so I'd feel like, well, I need to do a lot of research, I need to do a lot of reading, and it's going to take a long time to kind of figure out how that works. And so it would like prevent me from trying new things sometimes. But with the agents, you can just ask it for what you want, and it'll sort of like it'll even explain what it's doing to you. And so
Yeah,
it looks
there's
like we've got.
the one thing that I've started doing was it's like kind of like the way the people kind of like vibe code with like apps and things like that. I just kind of like find APIs that I'm interested in, and I'll put a few of those into a project if I think there's like something interesting you can find in both. And there's like no like there isn't the friction of like having to learn the packages or read the documentation anymore. That kind of side of it is like vanished with like the agent. So it's like you can kind of start to do yeah, test out new projects and domains. So it's like not even just like technical things, but like access to data would have been like something I'd never would have taken the time to learn a new API data source. But that's kind of like super easy to do now. But your chart is looking very cool up top there, Greg.
Yeah, we seem to have some performance comparisons cooking here. So we did the k-medoids optimization, and it's chosen these three spots for the charging stations. And so that's interesting. And we've got 33%. Does I say 33%? Yeah, 33% improvement over just random placement, which I suppose is good. So that's a
That
good
is good.
start. So yeah, I mean, the other day my son was working on a project. He's into 3D printing, and he's like, "Hey, Dad, I'm having trouble getting these corners rounded on my 3D printing file." And for my first reaction was, "Well, I have no idea how any of that works, or any what those file types are, or how to use any of the software or anything like that." But then I went, "Wait a second. I have a coding agent and I could just generate that file from scratch. And so I did. It was pretty cool. We laid out the little elements of his design and then asked it to round the corners and boom, I had a 3D printing file and I knew
That's
nothing about
unbelievable.
3D printing. So I did it all in
Wow,
Zerve. It was spectacular. So
that's
yeah,
unreal.
I love being able to sort of like tackle problems that I previously wouldn't have attempted,
Yeah.
just because of the way the agent does its thing.
Oh, that's very cool.
All right, so let's see. Now let's add some constraints. Boop, boop, boo. So the next prompt says add constraints to the optimization. A max service radius where no zone can be more than R units from a station, and update the solver to enforce the constraint and rerun for k equals 3. So let me open the prompt here. So we're adding a constraint to our optimization here. And hopefully what I'm imagining will happen is that it'll draw the this same image, but there'll be radiuses,
Yeah.
service radiuses around each thing. So it might end up having to move the charging stations. Might end up, doing its own, doing something different. So it's always exciting working with the agent to see what it will do. How's yours looking, Jason?
It's looking good. It's finished that task, so I'm gonna ask it to what's the next coolest thing we can do and do another thing. So I have eight charts,
Nice.
three different models trained, an idea of what the maximum coverage is. Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Huh, cool. One of the things in the chat I see here that I'm going to butcher your name, Azucena has tried. He said that the agent produced an error, some code that errored, but it auto-corrected. I love watching that. It's just something cool about seeing the agent like forget to import pandas or do something like that, and then automatically fix it without you having to sort of like jump in there and change anything or do anything different. Oh, it happened here. All right, here we go. So we've got an error. And let's see if the agent can fix it here. Okay, it's referenced a variable called unconstrained max dist, which is not defined. So the agent is working away, and we'll see if it can fix its solution. It looks like it's going through and it's finding a bunch of infeasible solutions here. So it didn't find any feasible ones in this case. With a radius of 45 units, was infeasible. And so maybe we'll have to increase the radius or add another station or something like that. But we'll see what the agent does here. Right now, it's trying to fix its issue. So it'll reattempt the code. It'll change it and rerun it. It found no feasible solutions. Interesting. So it's cool that it kind of figured that out. Did yours attempt to add any constraints around like radius?
It put a constraint around the maximum number of stations, I think more so
Uh,
than a radius. And then just
uh,
looking at some of the coverage results, they do all have 100% coverage. So it does. It might. I'll have to go and look at some of the blocks to see exactly what it did in terms of some of it. So I'll just check now.
okay. Well, it's still thinking here, so I don't want to go in and change anything while it's still working. I want to give it a go. So it looks like it increased the radius here to 47 units. So it's still trying. Let's see, adjusting R to 47 based on output showing that the unconstrained solution has max distance of 46.87. That should allow feasible solutions, it says. So it's
So
it's trying to adjust its radius here.
yeah, so there was a max service radius of 10 is what it put itself in as.
In yours?
Yeah.
Ah, I see. Of course, we simulated different data, so
Yeah.
your synthetic data set is different from mine,
Yeah, I have
and
more
so
station. I think I have more stations as well. That's like
I see. Yeah, we may we may need to go from k equals 3 to k equals 4 in
yeah.
order to fit this particular data set, which would be a good piece of information. You can't do it with just 3. So it's added another block here. Visualize constrained solution. Okay, so we're drawing a chart here. What have we got? Badoop. Okay, that's executing. Okay, wow. Well, they're oval shaped. That's wild. Let me zoom in on this chart here. Okay, charging stations one, and okay, we do have full coverage here.
That's
So
good.
when it increased the radius to 47 units, then it was able to squeeze in these guys. It's a bit unclear why there's the radiuses are.
I think it's like this.
Oh,
It's
it's
the
the
sum
scale.
of the yeah.
Yeah, it's just because the scale is off. So I was like, how is that happening? So anyway, that's funny. It's because it's not a square plot. But okay, so we have an actual solution here, so that's positive. So the constraint satisfaction here, the maximum distance is 46.87, so we set it equal to 47. And then the zone 8, that probably is this guy here, is the furthest away one. So that's fascinating. All right, cool. So we've got now I can zoom out here so people can kind of see what's happening with our plot. So this path up on top is the unconstrained solution, and then it added the constrained solution down here at the bottom. But the way that Zerve is working under the hood, so like if I were to share this project with Jason, say, and I'll just do that in case we Jason at Zerve.ai invite. Now he could jump in. You don't need to, Jason, but he
Yeah.
could. He could jump in and he could see all the code. Now, if you're used to programming in like a Jupyter notebook or something like that, you might expect that he would have to rerun all these blocks in order to load the variables into memory, like you would with a notebook. So if I send you a Jupyter notebook, you're going to first try to get your environment set up, and then you'll open that notebook, and then you'll have to run that code in order to kind of get those results, get the variables loaded into memory and be able to fiddle with it. But what Jason will find when, oh, excuse me, what Jason will find when he logs in, oh, and he has, so I can see his little picture up here in the corner. So he's logged in. What he'll find is that all of the variables are already in memory. They're already loaded. And so he doesn't have to rerun anything in order to make this thing work. And that's because the way that Zerve works is when you run a block, what it's doing is it'll spin up compute. So in this case, we're using lambdas, so it's very fast. So it'll spin up compute. It'll start with the variable space from the previous block, and then it'll execute this code. And then when it's completed, when the execution is complete, it'll take all the variables in memory and it serializes them all, and it stores them and caches them and saves them on disk. So a data frame might get, so I can look at them. So here's all the variables that are getting created here. And so some of these, like this guy's a list of zone names. Some of them are data frames. So like this is just a number. This is an integer. Um, those get serialized and stored on disk. And then when the next block runs, the first step is a deserialization task to load those guys back into memory. And so that's why you can use multiple languages inside of Zerve. So if I wanted to connect, say, an R block to this block and write some R code, so maybe I'm not a Python coder, maybe I'm more comfortable in R, then I can connect it. And because of that deserialization step, all of my variables will be saved from a Python block, but when I connect an R block, they'll be read in, they'll be deserialized as R objects. And so I don't have to do any code conversions or anything like that. It's just for basic variable types, I've got complete language interoperability here. And so I can have a SQL coder or an R coder or a Python coder all operating in the same environment, all working off of the same code base and interacting with the same variables in a really kind of slick and streamlined way. So I could SQL query a pandas data frame, say, because that's just the way it works under the hood. And so you can visualize those variables there. All right, let me check in on the chat, see how we're doing.
And
Okay, go ahead,
Uh,
Jason.
yeah, there was just a comment around like if the agent could end up doing like different things for the same prompt, and effectively it can because it's like there's in like the large language models there's the temperature which is like the kind of the like so there's a number of like possible solutions that it can choose from, and there's like a certain level of like it's not deterministic exactly what events it will do or where it exactly starts, and it can end up on different paths. So you can end up with like different yeah, it's likely that everybody would end up with different results. Even it's more so even because of the synthetic data at the start, that the starting point for the project is different as well, I think.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. The first time that I did this project, I didn't have that that issue around infeasible solutions. So it found a feasible solution right out of the gate and didn't have to do that. So when it started finding these infeasible solutions, I was like, "Uh-oh, we're gonna have a problem. I'm gonna have to go in and adjust the code and or do something different and so on." But it's actually really interesting that it did that. So in a real life problem, you might not be able to change the maximum service radius. Like that might not be a feasible thing to do for the particular optimization that you're doing. And so you might have to tell the agent, look, the fixed service radius is in fact 45. If you can't find a feasible solution there, then increase K, add another station. And then you have some sense of like, okay, what is the what is the minimum number of stations I need to serve a particular area? So yeah, things are going to be different, not just because of the way the data gets generated, but also because of the sort of the randomness that gets baked into these LLMs. So when the agent makes a coding mistake and corrects itself, says Shakid, I'm sorry for butchering your name, does that increase the expense of credits? Anyone who worked with an AI agent first IDE knows that they tend to make mistakes on more complicated tasks. It does, I suppose. Well, Jason, talk a bit about that. You want to answer that one?
I mean, it's like if it writes some codes and learns that there's like a mistake, it will. It does use credits while it's like doing actions effectively. So, yeah. Sometimes it's like somewhat inevitable when you're working on like real data that you'll end up like not knowing column names or trying to do something, or there's a an int where there should be a string and things like that. So, yeah, yeah, so when the agent kind of like is stepping through things, it does use credits.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, let's see. Are you able to add images to the chat here? I don't know if you can or not.
Let me try.
No, I
I'll
don't think
try.
you can. That's okay. I was just going to suggest that people maybe want to paste in their plots, their charts that are coming in, because they will be different. The paths it'll take are a bit different from time to time. Somebody said that they're getting lots of forks in their plots or in their graph here in their DAG, and that's totally fine. One of the neat things about Zerve is that it's parallelizable, so you can run as many blocks as you want simultaneously. Unlike like a Jupyter Notebook or a VS Code or something like that that are single threaded. Because the way the compute works, you can kick off 10 blocks running all at the same time. Or Jason could run a block and I could run a block and they can all kind of run together. And so the forks are fine. It's just they're in this case I have one fork. And so these two blocks are inheriting the variable space from this guy, and we're taking two different paths. So if I were to run from here, say, these two guys could run simultaneously at the same time. So you can sometimes save some work in terms of like, how how you execute your code. And keep in mind, you do have control. Like this is not a fixed thing. I can edit any of this code. I could cut these connections and separate these blocks from one another and so on, reconnect them, and they'll rerun and that sort of thing. So like there's just because the agent wrote this code doesn't mean that you couldn't go in there and edit it and change it yourself and so on. Also, I suppose I should point out that you can be a bit more targeted here in terms of the way you're working with the agent. So like if I click on, there's this Ask AI button right here. I can be very targeted in terms of like, okay, if I wanted to make a certain change here, like change the R value to, 75 instead of uh, 47, then I can do that. And Zerv will only change stuff that's going on in this block, and it'll show you the changes that it wants to make and ask you to approve them and so on. So the interaction with the agent over here on the right side of the screen is entirely is like whole project based. So this will kind of give the agent full reign to go in and change what it needs to change. Whereas if you go with this very targeted view, then the agent will only change stuff within this one block. So you have some
Yeah.
control over like the scope of what's going on there.
And even in the like the full kind of project agent mode on the right, there is the option to have like the fast execution mode, which is like on here for this, but you can also do like manual approvals of the plan. So you can kind of like switch between it being like automatically just like write the code and like show me the plan before you write the code as well.
Right? Yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay, last prompt for me. Now I want to generalize a visualization comparing. I'm going to just pop it into the chat here. Comparing random placement and optimized placement. I want it to show the service regions, the total weighted distance, and any zones outside the service radius. So we're going to ask for some visualizations here. How's yours looking, Jason? We're
Good. I've
coming
done
into you
a
next. So,
so the thing that it's done next is like kind of like some demand forecasting. So it's like times that it'll be
oh,
busy and then a risk and sensitivity analysis for each of the stations. So it's like what's the risk if like one of them goes down. So that's what's currently cooking.
wow, you got it complicated. You put the time component in there.
Yeah, it just you just leave it go. It's so yeah, so what do I have here? Highest risk stations. One is a 60% risk with a 70% volatility. So
Well,
there's
hey, don't spoil it. We're gonna
yeah,
jump over
yeah,
there in a
that's
second.
a bit of a
I want to
teaser.
see
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me jump to the chat here. Let's see. When the agent makes a coding is oh, we did that. In that case, wouldn't it be better to try it step by step instead of one-shotting it? Maybe. I don't know. Actually, I'm really curious to see how they compare. Because my initial thought when I was thinking about this project was that it might be too complicated to just one-shot it, and that it might be better to kind of handhold the agent. I suppose the step-by-step approach would be better when like if you have a specific way that you want to handle the particular uh, approach. Like if there was a particular optimization that I knew I needed to take, then the step-by-step approach might be better. Although you could just specify the step-by-step approach you could just specify the method in the one-shot approach as well. So it's like, I don't know that's necessarily better. Here's the comparison. So this is random placement, and in the random placement method, we left three zones out in the cold. So these guys were not served by any of the three. And then here is the optimal placement based on the k-medoid stuff, where everyone is nice and covered by these little circles here. So yeah, that was really interesting. So that 33% reduction in total weighted distance that we saw from the optimization is here. And the agent really does this nice kind of summary at the end that kind of tells you what it ended up finding. And it even suggests some other approaches or some other solutions to the problem, some next steps, that sort of thing at the end. So some cool things happen there. Let me stop sharing, Jason, and let's jump over to yours and kind of see where you ended up.
Sure. So I'll start sharing now.
And David, I told you could have done this. Didn't require any technical skill at all, hardly, for what we've done. So you definitely could have been able to get in there. He was telling me earlier, he said, "No, don't make me do it." And I was like, "Yeah, you could have done
Yes,
it."
so this is my project so far. I've asked it to now go off and see can it find like real data and apply the
Oh, he
same.
did.
So
He
it's
did do it. David
uh,
totally followed along. All
oh,
right, good
nice.
man. All right.
Yeah, so
Sorry to
this was
interrupt. Go ahead, Jason.
this is I can kind of go through the charts, I guess. So it started with this. So this was the synthetic data. It kind of split it into like different kind of like groups for different like levels of demand. So more people lived in certain areas than other. Um,
Wow.
and then
Do you think it actually corresponds to the city? Because
I
it says
asked.
UK.
Yeah, yeah. So I asked it was like to look. So I've now asked it in a different chat here. So you can have multiple chats and you can even I was doing the temporal analysis and the sensitivity analysis in two different chats to see what that was like. So this one here is now cooking with, yeah, looking to see if it can get real data. I'm not 100% sure it will, but it's looking at the National Charge Point Registry. So let's
Wow.
see.
Okay.
Um, so back to this. Yeah, so this is probably the easiest way to go through it. It did some analysis then of like the different zone types, the distributions, a few things like that. And then we were looking at three different modeling types. So what it did
Which
was
three?
so it used this is the
Milt?
multi-index linear process or the mixed integer linear processing. It used a greedy set approach. So the same constraints. So it let itself have 15 stations, max 10 was the idea. And then, oh yeah, and here it's okay, it's looking for that anyways. And then k-means clustering as well. So
Okay.
if we go here, this was what the coverage for the different types looked like, where it placed them.
Oh
Um,
my.
and these were it. And actually
So
there was
10's probably too many, huh?
15. Yeah, so the greedy one actually found that you could do it in three.
No
So
kidding.
you could find the constraints in three. So if I go actually just, I'm sure I have a chart of it. Bum, 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 bum. Here. So if you could place them here,
Wow.
you could get like all of the coverage effectively. So that's made this comparison table with the coverage, the average travel time. So the average travel time does go up. So
Yeah.
it's like but you could get the constraints for like the radiances and things like that with just three. You have maximum travel distances and times obviously go up. So depending on like which of the metrics you wanted to optimize for, if you wanted to mix, like have a metric that's optimized for multiple effectively. So that was kind of the idea that it could be like a multi objective kind of optimization. So you can kind of like blend this then to pick whatever of these is the like the best. So yeah, kind of interesting. I was surprised with the that you could cover it in three. In terms of it. What could be good is to kind of have it. I like what yours was doing, Greg, where I kind of used the number of the number of stations as like a hyperparameter effectively. So it could have
Hmm.
like, kind of like gradually like increased it. So that was kind of the models and its comparison. And then I asked it to do a little bit of kind of like analysis of and it's actually creating charts now. So it's like even
What's
like
the green one? The big green chart with the red
uh,
dots in it. What is
this.
that? Yeah.
So this is the wait time
Oh,
heat
wait
map.
times.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
this is with time of day included.
time of day demand for like different like the average so this is like total demands by like time of day. So this is like rush hour. Um Yeah, so it did a good bit of time. It's like if there was queues, and then based on that information, it did a risk analysis for each of the stations. So if it became off grid, what's the implications? How much further people had to travel, and it kind of like ranked them in terms of we'll say like the risk. Um, which is here. So a lot of these were where the cities were, and because we're placing our stations there, they become like high risk effectively because they serve a large population.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and there was one that heavily outweighed the rest effectively in
Hmm.
terms of that chart. So most of them were kind of like equal risk, except for this one. There's some kind of like peak demand curves. This is hourly station utilization patterns for all of the kind of like yeah, so it's interesting. So for all of the
Huh.
stations that I created, it was like what it expected. So this is based on the populations and like the travel times and kind of like travel path kind of like weightings that I created with its synthetic data. This is what like you'd expect the demand to look like.
Hmm.
Um, and this one did a temporal change in performance. So yeah, so this is kind of from the it was the original one shot got us as far as the that first table, effectively the comparison. So this is another one. So this was kind of from the starting data as well. This was like all of it's like all of the trends and things like that around. Um, yeah, just like how people travel between all of the different stations. So it used some like Gaussian noises applied to kind of like make it more realistic.
Hmm.
Um, that was the yeah. So this is where the first prompt got us, and then the temporal analysis and the kind of like risk were follow-on prompts.
Hmm. So it look so we do have a question in the chat about the cost. Can you go up to your first prompt and just see how many credits it used? Your one
Used
shot?
2.3 credits, I think, was so if I'm in the
No, surely not.
I think it was 7 minutes, was it? Uh, oh, it's not 2.3, 23, sorry.
Oh, 23 credits. Okay. And you
23
get
credits.
50 per month here. So
50, yeah.
23 credits for that one. Let me look at mine. Um, so my first question used 2.3. Second step was 2.6. So that's about five. Then 2.8 for the third prompt. So that's almost eight. And then 4.1 for the next one. So that's 12 or so. And then 7.9 for the next ones. That's about 20. And then 4.7 for the next one. So about 24.
Okay.
So yours was 23?
23, yeah.
Okay, so
And
yeah, so 23 for the one shot, 24 for the step by step. So
similar results. And this,
yeah,
yeah, I'll have to check if this is real data, but apparently it's pulled in some stations here and done some stuff. So maybe it was real data that it was looking at.
wild. That's crazy if it was.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, so about so it turns out they're about the same. And I don't know about you, Jason, but it seems to me like the results from both approaches were pretty similar in terms of the
yeah,
way
do you
that
want
they
to
work.
pull up your charts again? So I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
yeah,
sure.
I ended up looking at my screen more than the shared screen for some of that.
All right, let's see here. Here's my charts. Okay, so this is the data that got distributed or got generated. And then this is a heat map showing the distance between each charging station.
Okay, very cool.
So this is just, distance. So yellow is further and blue is closer. And then here is the results of the optimization. So the ideal placement of the three zones. And it turns out it was an easy convergence here on the optimization. So that is what it is. But an improvement of about 33% from random placement. So I like that comparison there. And a visualization of where everything is. I think probably if I was going to use this, I would want to jump in and whoops and change the axes so that the
Yeah.
little circles actually appeared circular. But since the plot is like not square, then that's why they're oval shaped. But this is distance to nearest station, that sort of thing. Here's a comparison of the two approaches. So the random placement over here left three zones out in the cold, uncovered by a charging station, and this one fixed it by moving the zone over.
I wonder on some of the thing if it's like if like ellipses are optimal in the sense that it's like you could be close in like one direct. You know, it's like you just have to find you could be closest like in one direction. You know, if the overall thing is to be within uh 10 miles or whatever, maybe it's not circles that you need to have.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I guess in reality, you've got roads and stuff, so it would really be more like travel
Yeah, yeah,
times or something like that.
yeah.
And then Oh, this just circled back to the beginning. I think yours came out to be a lot more complicated. Do you think one-shotting the solution would tend to result in more complex graphs?
So it ended up being like there was definitely a few more charts in it. I probably ended up doing two, like t- 2.5 times what we kind of like set out to do at the start with like the risk analysis and things like that.
Mm,
But I think one-shotting might end up. I probably told it to create visualizations and like make it look cool in the one-shot prompt, like telling it to make like visualizations. So that would have
mm,
pushed it to do more. I think it probably is more likely if you get it to do multiple steps that it will create more charts because you could be more. The first step, for example, is if you give it something to say like create synthetic data. It'll just create this synthetic data and maybe like one chart, whereas with mine it did that and looked at the distributions and a few things. Um, so um, probably kind of going step by step will result in less charts being made. And just to answer the question, the relevance of the one-shot prompting versus the step by step in this context is really an experiment, I guess, to see if like one was better than the other, Greg.
yeah, I think that's fair. You know, certainly, I guess when these models first came out and I started using ChatGPT back a few years ago, it's definitely seemed like step by step worked better back then. But now the models are so much better that I don't know. I don't know that it's better. One thing I do like about the step by step approach is just from a comprehension perspective, like I know exactly what's going on
Yep.
in this layout here. Like I watched it being made, and so like just in terms of like my understanding of what's going on, I feel like I get this better than I do yours. Yours seemed just a bit like a kind of a jumble of code.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. No, there was definitely a lot of well, even I didn't, yeah, have the full comprehension of like what was the in the full project yet. So it does
yeah, show it
yeah,
again. I want to. Can we just
sure.
compare the complexity? Mine was just a straight line with one fork, and
Um
yours is.
so mine is here and what I had originally, so some of these forks were afterwards. So I had
Oh, I see.
this block. I had this one and then these up to here. So it was pretty much a straight line with a
Okay.
fork at
Yeah,
the
that's fair.
start was kind of what it actually did. So I didn't even have forking for the models in this case. It did it sequentially.
Hmm.
Um, and then these charts came at the very end, and then this was the temporal analysis and the risk as well, I think, was kind of what was looked at afterwards. So it's pretty much a straight line with one fork for visualizations at the start. Maybe it was these two actually. So there's probably three forks. So there was
Hmm.
these two visualizations, and then the kind of the modeling part.
Gotcha. Let's see. So I guess we're kind of done with the coding. Let's open it up for questions. If anybody has any questions about your experience, I'd love to hear what people encountered when they were doing the work throws flows on their own. Yeah, that'd be fascinating to hear.
Mate, I'm back.
Uh,
I'm coming straight
hey,
in
hey,
just
David.
by saying I love you guys.
Ha!
Let's just throw it
Awesome.
out there. I
Yeah,
love you guys.
no,
We love you too,
yeah,
David.
feelings mutual.
Mate, honestly, that is so cool. I feel like I've seen the future. Like just my head's exploding with possibilities, which is amazing. So I can see a couple of heart emojis coming up on the screen, a few clapping emojis and stuff. Feel free to jump in the chat and just say a verbal thank you as well, because it's really nice to call out a few names. In terms of the questions, if you do have any, if you don't mind, if we jump off the chat and just stick them into the Q&A, I'll maybe tackle a few questions in there. Tamana, straight on, very cool. Thank you so much. Sharkhead, thank you. No, thank you, Sharkhead, with the Google Docs. So this is
Yeah,
what
it's a
it's
great
all
idea.
about, man. It was again, this is what we want. We want interactivity. We're all here. We're all learning together. We're all supporting each other. So, mate, that was quick. That was quick, and we dealt with that copy and paste issue, which was wicked. Yeah, I'm going to keep going through a few more of these. Jamie Puller, that was cool. Thank you for the walkthrough, Pradeep. Thank you, Azusena. Thank you, guys. Harple. Thank you, Greg, David, and Jason. Jason, how did I get ahead of you in that list? Like I literally didn't do anything. Eh? We'll bump you up one there. So I'm going to say thank you, Greg, Jason, and David. Very cool. Where are we? Can we connect with you on LinkedIn?
Sure.
That's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Yeah, of
that'd be
course,
question.
great.
by all means.
It snuck in. Connect with everybody. We all get on with each other.
Yeah.
That is all good. Love the vibe of this event. Thank you so much for sharing. Agree with Dave. You guys are great. Thank you, Jason and Greg and David. Sharkhead, that's what we want. Even getting a little call out. Mark Stanley, thank you very much. Adrian. So yeah, amazing. Thank you for being with us. And making it so much fun. You were right, Greg. I was able to follow along. I doubted myself, but I got in there. And the thing I'm going to call out with that, man, I love the UI.
No.
I love what you've built in terms of the layout of Zerve. It was like super intuitive.
Oh,
So
very good.
this is me, like as I say, in it, first time user. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Very quickly, I'd kind of worked my way around, which was nice. In terms of that, a couple of questions come in the Q&A. So thank you very much for that, Tariq and Abhijit. The one thing I'm just going to jump on actually, Jason, because again, my little brain sparked when you said it, Jason, was that you kind of called out that sometimes you'll find access to some APIs, interesting data, whatever, and you almost like chuck it in. It's almost like a space for exploration.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
is that very much like a use case that you see within
Yeah,
Zerve?
I do it personally. So I don't know. Maybe I can. If you give me 2 seconds, I'll just pull up a couple of
Let's see. We're in the
projects I was
moment.
doing.
Yeah.
So
And I guess with that, like from a speed perspective, it just I guess you allows you to kind of still man some ideas and very quickly kind of test whether if there's something in your idea, and if there
oh,
is, you can go deeper and deeper and deeper sort of thing.
exactly, because it's like that's it. It's just like you have an idea of like something that you might want to look at, and then if I bring this up, so I've a few just projects. So this is actually just using like data from a couple of places like AI models. So this is one that I was just looking at yesterday. So I was traveling yesterday, and I was like, oh, I wonder. So you see a lot of the time in when people do like demos of like Claude Code and like Lovable, they'll say like build me a Spotify clone. And I was wondering like how much like information does the word like Spotify have? Is it like if you do like an embedding, is it closer to like build me a music app or build me an app that has a play button with like lots of like, describe the features. So if you kind of
Yeah.
like do fidelity and just with like embeddings, it's actually like closer to like very low, like build me a music app, build me like a docs kind of thing. And as you add more detail, you get further away on the embeddings effectively,
Yeah.
which I was surprised about. Um, so this was just like pulling in data from a few things, but if you add the context, so instead of using an embedding model, if you create like a little agent and get it to create a plan, you on average move like up effectively. So if you give it a task and say your job is to build like web pages, then actually adding like more information changes it. So there's like something kind of interesting. I don't have a full explanation for it, but that was one thing that I was kind of thought was interesting for sports fans. A thing I did was I got a sports API the other day. So one I had like I still don't know how the API works, but I just like connected to it, got an API key, and so this is one where it predicts. So this is like for football fans, it predicts for all the top five leagues in the championships what the next game score will be. So it's
Wow.
predicting Aston Villa to beat like Everton. It does the probability of
You gonna
the
place a few wagers?
I
Yeah,
this
he
is
said
I'll get
sports
to
fans,
yeah
but we're
I'll get
talking
to
about
the
gambling fans.
yeah, I'll get to it in a second, but this is the probability. So use the Monte Carlo simulation to do all of the like the final tables and the probability of each positions. They made some cool heat maps for each of those, which I liked. So which was these ones. So you can kind of see like Arsenal have a so
Oh,
Arsenal fans
those are
according to the mod
ghostly looking. I
Yeah,
love the
yeah.
smoky vibe of that. That's cool.
So apparently Arsenal have a 63% chance of winning the league at the minute, according to this model, anyways. So it's like Arsenal fans out there. And then just because you mentioned it, Greg, like the betting, so the validation is actually based on like betting odds. So it's like how well it compares to all of the betting things, because the Sports API also had a betting. So that would be perfect alignment. There's things that the model doesn't, it just uses like historical games. So I was thinking of putting in like there's a thing called fantasy football, very similar to the one in America, Greg, where you get like points for scoring goals and everything. So could you use like the previous week's fantasy football points to increase the accuracy of your model is an idea that I was thinking about. And then another one, very briefly, was uh, so this one was yeah, I might stop with this one, but these are all like done at the weekend. It's like, in terms of like you
Wow.
just like have an idea, you can like put in an API key if you want. So here, this is like a free API key. It's just like a GitHub token. So I just like made my own GitHub token, and I wanted to analyze like how data science code is different than like software code. So I pulled in a load of notebooks and a load of like repos and did an analysis to look at like how the distributions of like the information in them is different and things. So there's like some interesting things about how like the like where they reference how much like structure they have in them and things. So it's like most of the information with data is obviously like external, whereas with software it's a bit more closed and you kind of like put more like classes and functions in it. So it kind of like comes out though like statistically as well. All of the things that you'd expect to see kind of like jump out in some of the charts. So they're all just things that it's like things that I never would have got around to looking at, are all
Yeah.
things that
Yeah.
like you just get like a data source, you ask a question, and like you kind of like can work through it in a couple of prompts.
Mate, that's super cool, and it's like amplifying you as a technologist.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
lets you explore these, and the fact that you're kind of calling out, this was one weekend. It's insane. If I can ever tempt you guys back, which hopefully we can, we need to get on this fancy football thing. Apologies, Greg, if football is different to you, maybe out in America, but I'm a big fan, and I can tell you right now, if we ran a fantasy football session, we'd have hundreds and
Oh, I'm
hundreds of
I'm
people.
in. You can sign me up already. Yeah, it's
Done.
like
Let's do it.
yeah, that one's yeah. No, I'd happily put yeah, we can do a like a data science festival, like shared project where like, it's like a community driven, like
Yeah,
can we find some
totally.
that's like yeah, some, because yeah, it is very interesting. I think there's something in the fantasy football stats in terms of like it tells you like XG for every one of the players,
Yeah,
and if a
yeah, yeah,
player's out, you'll
yeah,
have a good chance of being able to predict
yeah.
if they'll win or lose, I think.
And I know you're an amazing marketeer. Rebecca will be watching along, but man, that's some PR. If you can like solve some fancy football in using Zerve, you're on all the news publications, aren't you?
Yeah,
You,
yeah.
you you're getting PR with that one. So we'll come back to that. I've gone off topic a little bit. In terms of the questions, I've got a couple more myself, but I'll take that top one actually from Abhijit. And Abhijit's asking, what are the advantages of Zerve compared to an LLM? And is it just data privacy, or what would you say to that
So
one?
there's even just before the data privacy, it's like I think so if you compare like Zerve to a cloud code, and it touches on the kind of like if you look at like data science code versus like software engineering code, I've always found the cursor and like Cloud Code are like optimized for working in like repos. So all of their like tool calls and like the kind of code that they're like told to write is like optimal for software engineering, which isn't always optimal for like working with data. So Zerve is like specifically focused for people that work with data. And then there's all of the things that Greg would have mentioned as well around the runtime, the stability of it. You're like in the cloud, it's shareable, and then it is
The
also fully,
context. Yeah.
yeah, and fully self-hostable as well. So it can all live inside of your own account, kind of like so. Serve will go to where your data currently is, and it'll never like leave your own like um yeah,
Awesome.
your own like cloud environment.
Yeah, like one
Amazing.
of the things we saw today in that example was when the optimization w couldn't find a solution, right? Remember when we had to increase the radius in order to get it to work? if you're working with like a Claude code or ChatGPT or something, it's not going to be able to kind of like look at those results and iterate like that, right? So it knows the context of your data, of
Yeah.
your results, and it can see your charts and graphs and all that kind of stuff as well.
Superb, man. Superb. And in terms of that, you've kind of touched on obviously the approach to code for data science is perhaps slightly different to kind of software engineering and stuff that within the data science world, have you found that it does particularly well with certain types of problems? For instance, obviously we've worked on an optimization problem today. Are there problems that fit better with Zerve, or is it, it works across all of them?
Greg, it's
I've done
I,
all kinds of stuff.
yeah, yeah.
I did a project that took an image and converted into a cross stitch map because my daughter loves needlepoint. She likes like, whatever. So it would pixelate the image and then convert the colors to the closest thread color and then output the map and order
Cool.
create a shopping cart on
Yeah,
the DMT website to order
yeah.
like, it's really kind of the sky's the limit,
Mate,
I think,
for
in terms of
sure, for sure. I've got a few more credits left on my account here, so
And
I've got a
there's
few ideas. Yeah.
Yeah, and there is the promo code as well, so everybody can get like a full month as well. So
Oh,
there's
legend.
like 25 extra credits for anybody looking for them as well.
We'll follow up. I love that, mate. People will be on it. That is for absolutely sure. The question there from Tariq, it probably is just worth sort of sanity checking that, talk about Zerve as a product and stuff like that. But Tariq's kind of calling out that I'm new to Zerve. Are we talking about this being a framework? Is it a coding agent? Where do you see the product? What's the future of the product, do you think, over the next sort of 12, 24 months? What are you guys working on?
Yeah, so it's a development environment, I think is probably the best way. It does have
Yeah,
the agent, and the agent is becoming more and more like integral to the way that people work. And we put a lot of effort into like making it like the best one for like working with data. So it's not a framework. You can use any like existing frameworks. You can install like Python packages, R packages, make them all kind of like run together. So it is very much a development environment more so than yeah, like a framework.
amazing.
Yeah, lots of things we're working on. One at the minute that's very exciting that will be released by the end of the month is reports. So you can do an analysis and then like with a prompt effectively get it to generate a report that answers a specific question, and you can create like many reports from an analysis and they become like shareable artifacts. And once you share them, the person that you share them with can chat with it as well.
Wow.
So yeah, so it kind of gives them a starting point, and it's able to then kind of like based on your when you're talking to the report, it can go back, do further analysis, update the report. So that's a kind of a cool way to kind of close the loop a little bit and kind of give somebody like an end output. Anything, Greg, that you're excited about that's coming up?
Well, the Streamlit apps is going to be super cool. The API deployments, the stuff that you can already sort of do, but will be improving in the future. Anything that's getting the results that you're making out there for people to consume and use, I think is super great.
Amazing, amazing. And broadly speaking, actually, like I kind of said at the beginning of the Q&A, I feel like I've seen the future. And I think my takeaway with all of this is that, the inquisitive people out there, the people that can think of creative problems, that can ask good questions, can now really lean into all of these tooling. And I guess that's the same for AI in general, whether it's like prompting agents and coding and stuff like that. Do you have any tips for people when it comes to prompting? And again, actually, Zahid Abbas, the questions has come back up. We did touch on it earlier, but like it's almost like you've one shot a prompt there, Jason, and your one shot attempt would be different to my one shot attempt. And you may have more experience about what you need to ask it. And then, Greg, your approach to the 5 prompts to make it happen, maybe I've end up with 7 or something like that. So, what do you see? Have you got tips for people out there? Do you recommend one shotting? Yeah, when it comes to prompting, how do you approach it?
I'll go first, and then you go, Jason. Um, I think a couple things. My first approach is always the simplest possible prompt, one shot, and see what happens, right? So, it's so fast to iterate on these things that One of the mistakes I think people make is trying to make your prompt too complicated. Um, I've seen people spend like an hour writing a prompt, and I'm like, no, just try something easy and then iterate. Like you don't need a 1,000 word prompt in order to get a good result. So I think a simple prompt is best, and then I always try just a one shot to see it work. Um, when it's not going to work, it's pretty clear that it's not going to work. Like that, I think that's the thing with the coding agents and large language model these days, is that if it can't do what you asked it to do out of the gate, then the likelihood is that it's not going to be able to do it at all. You know what I mean? Like it's going to struggle. So sometimes it's best if you hit a snag at the beginning to just start from scratch. Like delete everything, new project, new prompt, take a different approach, and go from there instead of trying to like force it once it's already hit a wall and it's like the
Once
square
it's
peg's
going
not going
wrong.
in the round
Yeah,
hole. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's my
Yeah,
thought anyway.
yeah, it's a very good
amazing.
question. It's something that I think you kind of like maybe change your behavior over time, and it's actually maybe an interesting one. If you go back and look over all your prompts, is there like a change in how you've like done it? Is like and maybe a good analysis. But the way I think I do it is I'll typically pick like a milestone. So I might have a bigger project in mind, but it's kind of for my own convenience. I'll tell it to go to a certain point, even if I have like further kind of like ideas in my head. So it'll be more than just loading the data or like a single step. I'll say I want us to be able to see if there's a correlation between these two things or something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
And then I'll look at the results, and then based on that, I'll decide what my next step is. Either go back and change the approach, or kind of like
yeah,
continue. So you can kind of like learn throughout the process as well.
yeah.
So I'll kind of
Fantastic.
like probably pick a milestone in my head. It's like this is the first interesting thing that we could look at.
Amazing, amazing. And have you ever had success like using prompts to create prompts? Because when I've used
Oh,
deep research,
sometimes. Yeah.
I've used the prompt for it to create a deep research prompt. Is that a thing
Yeah,
or?
yeah, I'll do it a little bit. I'll like open up a second screen, and because I try to keep I don't know if it's good or not, but I try to keep the chat that I'm in kind of like on topic,
Yeah,
and then I might like have another window open to say I'm working on this problem. How can I formulate it?
yeah,
Like because it'll just make my idea like formatted nicely and much like
yeah,
more thorough to kind of like put in.
yeah. And I think I saw that in when you were demoing there, but just a sanity check, you can create windows for different chats within Zerve. You don't have to go
Yes,
out to
yeah,
a different tab or anything like that.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
all within. Man, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. This is cool. What do you reckon? Prompt skills will end up on the education syllabus in the
Uh,
future, or are we going to
I
go
mean,
that far?
it's just talking. I mean, like
It's
when these
just
first
talking.
things, yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it is
yeah,
when these first things first came out, you started seeing job postings
yeah,
for
yeah,
prompt engineers,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
that's absurd. I mean, like,
yeah.
there's no
I,
engineering. You're just talking.
no, I think the thing is though, some people are better at asking questions than others.
oh,
That's a skill,
definitely.
isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, but
There's
again, I'm going off topic. I just
yeah.
find it so fascinating.
It'll be interesting to see does it like change over time, or is like chat kind of like here to stay? It's like, there
Mm,
is like the multimodal models. Could it get to that you can like talk to it a little more?
yeah.
Or like yeah, kind of like have visual cues. It's like, if you raise an eyebrow, it knows that it's not doing well. So we'll see what the future holds.
Jason is not happy.
Yeah.
Jason is frowning.
Yeah.
Amazing. I must admit already, I must admit I talk to AI more than I type now already,
Oh,
quite
okay,
quickly.
very
I'm
good.
like
Yeah.
typing takes too long. So okay.
Mm.
I guess like a couple more questions and a couple more from me, and then we'll see where we go with this. I know you guys were super chilled around time. A question from Mark. I'll pick that one off. Should be super straightforward. Mark Stanley, are you giving us extra reserve credits so we can play with the system? I think that was the plan, wasn't it? We're going to ping some around after to all the people
Yeah.
that attended.
I think we're having a promotion right now where you just get a month free of Pro, so you get what is it, 250 credits
Yeah.
out of the
Amazing.
gate, which is
And
a
was that
huge
whether
amount.
you were already signed up or or whether that you have to be a brand new user for that
That's
one?
anybody can do
Is
it,
it?
yeah. So even yeah.
Mark,
Yeah.
you're good. And do you know what else? I'm just going to tell you. Send Greg a LinkedIn message, and he's a pushover. He just gives credits out for everything. So no, I think the thing I've learned from you guys is you love people in the platform, don't you? You love people building,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
experimenting. So yeah, thank you for that question, Mark. But you will be looked after for sure. Azucena, can we say that prompting step by step functions as a chain of thought? So yeah, I guess this goes back to our conversation there about like that thought process, prompting as we go. That is the approach, loosely covered already.
Yeah, so as a chain, I think there is a bit of it. Yeah, there's sometimes it they like the models can get a bit confused. So they still are somewhat limited by like context windows and like they are getting better, but like yeah, the further things are back in the chat, kind of like the more chance it is that the models will like miss them. And if you have two things that kind of like um contradict at some point, it's like hard to know which one it'll pick up on. So it's like
Yeah.
yeah, there is a little bit where sometimes it is better to just like open a new chat in the same project and like say we're working on this and kind of like just like cut your losses and kind of like
Yeah.
start fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes
Yeah.
sense, makes sense. And the last one in the chat there from Tariq, can we create a standalone app? So I guess this is that whole vibe coding thing. You can vibe code a mobile app or whatever. That's not where you're aiming for with Zerve
Those yeah,
or
Streamlit apps and like Python based apps, you can and you can reference everything from your anything you've created in your notebook is like referenceable. So but not React based application. So it's not an alternative to like Lovables or like some of the things you'd build with like Cloud Code, for example.
yeah, fantastic, fantastic. I was going to say we've ticked off the questions in the Q&A. Another one pops up. I'm such a sucker. I'm never stopping until they're all gone. Abhijit, please repeat the code needed to get a month free on Zerve, or at least process the processify. Abhijit, we'll follow up with everybody that's registered and attended. You'll get a follow-up email from Data Science Festival and Zerve, and we will send you all the details. We definitely want you on the platform and using it. So thank you for that. I guess just last little bit for me to draw it to a close. I think as as I was watching that as well, I was just like, as a learning tool, you kind of you forced me into it, Greg. I was showing a bit of fear. I was thinking, Dave, man, you just do the talking, you don't do the coding, Dave. And you're like, come on, get in there, you can do it. And actually, as soon as I got into it, I was like, okay, this is cool. I could see myself back in here. I've got a few ideas, like many people. I'm going to do a bit of exploration and stuff like that. As a learning tool, again, do you see people using Zerve as a learning platform? Like, can you almost do a bit of pair programming
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
platform? Is that kind of another use case that you see people doing?
Oh, definitely. It's really good for like education because yeah, so both for you can work with other people, but also just like the agent to teach you like concepts. So it's like if you it can like yeah, just be a great place to go. You can just ask it. It's like I'm interested in this. What are the approaches? And then you can go, oh, okay, like number one looks very interesting. Let's have a look at that. So it is like good to talk you through, and it can put like markdown blocks for like explanations, and you can kind of chat with it. So it is. I found it very good for like just like new concepts and new approaches as well.
Superb.
Yeah, that in collaboration. So I find learning something new is much easier when you're learning it with somebody.
Mm.
So like in the classroom, this is great. It's a kind of ironic. The Jupyter Notebook was actually built to be a classroom scratchpad by a guy at Berkeley like 20 years ago. But it's so bad at collaboration. Like it is horrible to try and have multiple people working together in a Jupyter Notebook, just because you're like emailing files and it's all in memory and it's local and it's kind of a nightmare.
Yeah.
But being able to get in there collaboratively, everybody sees everything. You can kind of like bounce ideas off each other. You can have different agent chats going, all that kind of stuff. So a lot to be said for collaboration in the education space.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic. With all of the questions done and the demos covered, I will draw things to a close. And I started the Q&A by saying, I love you guys. I'm going to end by saying it as well, man. Like it's genuine. Let me see some emojis coming up because it's super, super cool. As a format for a community event. I think this is like top tier. Really appreciate you taking the time. I think actually, Jason, I've gone a step further. We need to do a hackathon
Oh, I'm
about
in.
fantasy
Yeah,
football,
yeah.
a Zerve hackathon about fantasy football. So that's what we're gonna do next.
Sounds good.
I've really got an
I
exciting
love that
event
idea.
that is happening. But yeah, what a way to kick off the year. As mentioned at the start, this is our 10th year as the Data Science Festival. We're planning to have a big birthday bash in May, and you've kind of really set us off on the right foot as a community. You've set us off on the right foot in terms of learning and education and giving back. I'm a massive fan of you and the product that you're building. I think it's absolutely amazing. It's been a real pleasure to see it change and grow and iterate. I'm super excited to see where we go, I'm part of the team already. Let's see where we go. I'm super excited to see where the whole team at Zerve goes over the next 12 months. And I absolutely wish you all the best for the coming months as well. But yeah, just to draw it to close, thank you very much from everybody that was here. How did you find it? It was your second time, Greg. So I'll come to you. How did you find it as your second time? And then we'll get you for your opinion just to finish up from there. But what do you think, Greg?
So I have a nagging question.
Go.
Us three guys, we all are wearing glasses, but mine are the only ones that are reflecting off my screen. How are you guys doing that? I, like,
I don't know actually. I'm overhead light. I'm in an office, so it's like yeah, maybe it's the overhead light.
it could be, but that's yeah, mine are just it's like anyway, I don't know. I
Yeah,
like it.
we
I'm a
feel
big
so
fan of
much
yours,
better.
David. This is a great community, great crowd, amazing questions, fun time. Yeah, I'm super
Good
happy.
man, good man. Well, we will have you back, Greg. I know we will for sure. And as mentioned, really appreciate the support. And yourself, Jason, first
Oh,
time online.
it
What
was brilliant. Yeah, no, it was great. No, thanks very much, David. Congratulations as well on the Big Ten,
the
the
Big
birthday. It's
Ten, man?
no, everything at like Data Science Festival is amazing. All the people are great. The community is great, and it's been a lot of fun. So yeah, more than happy to do it again. And yeah, a fantasy football hackathon seems like a good one.
What's your inbox, mate? It's coming. You're gonna regret saying that. We're definitely gonna
I
make
don't
it.
know. No, I'm all in. I'm looking for us to have the like a great community model where we can like do
I could
like
tell you right now, Rebecca has got her head in her hands, like shaking her head. So no, it's super cool, man, and hopefully we can make something happen. But yeah, thank you for joining us. Thank you again to Zerve. Thank you all for being with us today, and look forward to seeing you all very soon. But yeah, have a good rest of the day, everybody.
yeah. Thanks very much, everyone. Thanks, David.
Bye bye.